NowGem, did you know you could find love in the most unlikely places? Wait for the juicy gist at the end. I'm Todi. Growing up in Nigeria, we had Tales by the Moonlight. Does that give you an inkling of my age? Perhaps not. What popular programs did you grow up watching? Share that in the comment below. And stay with me as I show you Smashing Tales by the True Light. Before joining Myton, I had lived in Leamington Spa for 6 years before I actually met some people like Helen Wallace.
And this is amazing Helen. She's great at organizing things and
Diana. Cynthia.
It was take a walk and we went to walk.
do you want to say hi, Irene? Irene, say hi.
Hello.
And so many more. I met Helen at the New to Myton event, and since then we've explored together and shared lovely moments at Women at Myton events like Dress Without Stress with Hilary Nichols. Check the Smashing Hangouts in the description to find out more.
Here are 2 fun facts. Point 1. Even though I was a Christian, I didn't believe that I needed to meet up with other believers even though the Bible says we shouldn't neglect together the gathering of one another. Here's a question for you, and I want an honest answer, please. Do you believe you can be a Christian on your own, or do you believe that we need one another? Do you believe that you have to live by everything the Bible says or not? Please comment your opinion below, too. In Nigeria, we call our leaders pastors. At Myton Church, we call them elders, but it doesn't mean they are old and gray.
Meet some elders.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm one of the leaders at Myton, and we're just having a church lunch. And we've had a time together as well in the morning, meeting together, and it's been a great day. And the sun's out, so we're having a good time.
I'm Tim Reynolds, member of Myton Church for 23 years.
And how have you found it so far?
Very good. I've been very happy. My wife and I have been attending since we got married. We've raised our 3 children through the church. We're part of a really good church family. I've been involved in men's ministry at Myton for quite a long time. Previously it was called Men Behaving Godly, but actually kind of folded probably around 2012, 2013. Then a bit of a break in terms of sort of active men's ministry, but we've reformed as of 2022. Men at Myton, we now get together every other month just for social and relationship building, but also aim to do some outreach events as well. I'm aiming to get the men in the church into a community together. So I've also been a long-term Sunday school teacher. So I've been teaching school years 3, 4, 5 and 6. Previously it was called Sundays Cool, as in Sunday 'S Cool. Now it's called Myton Kids. Really good ministry to be part of. I'm also involved in Friday night youth work. So again, school years 3, 4, 5 and 6. My wife and I have been co-leading a group called Let's Go for just over 20 years. Holiday Club has also been a major part of Myton's calendar. Again, we've been running it for maybe 25 plus years in total, and we've gone through various different incarnations. When we were back at the school before COVID, we maybe had 350 children coming to us for half a day for a whole week. This is our 2nd year of a new format where we're having 3 full days with the children late in July, so start of the summer holidays. A few smaller numbers these days than we used to have, but actually it's really important to contact these children, tell them about Jesus.
There are many reasons to love Myton. A major deal breaker for me. You can meet amazing people like...
I don't think I'm amazing at all, really. I'm fairly ordinary, but I'm 82 years old and I still enjoy my walking. And on Friday this week, I'm walking 11.5 miles and climbing Breeden Hill, probably doing about 1,000 foot of climb during the walk. I was 59 years old and I had no indication that I had a brain tumour. I was in Myton Church on Easter Sunday and I had a seizure. I couldn't speak. My arm was thrashing about. My wife was really worried and was trying to ask me, are you all right? But I couldn't say anything. The service was going on. Bob Telford was doing the sermon and he noticed that I was unwell. So he halted the service. Peter Davis, who was a doctor, was sat next to my wife, as it happens. I came and calmed her down and sat with me until my seizure stopped and phoned for an ambulance, and the service was able to continue. Anyway, they rushed me to Warwick Hospital and I had another seizure on the way, and they arranged for a scan, and fairly soon afterwards they discovered that I'd got a brain tumour the size of a lemon in my skull. It was in May. They actually removed the brain tumour. It was Mr. Christie, the surgeon, and he spoke to my wife and I and said, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you're not going to survive. But because I was a Christian, it was much more something that I could face, because I knew I was going to be okay either way, even if I didn't survive the operation. I would be with the Lord. The strange thing is that I only came back to the Lord in the November, just after the millennium. My neighbour who went to Myton Church, he gave me the millennium video of the life of Jesus. I was very struck by it. And I went round to him and I asked if he knew of an Alpha course that was going on. Well, there was one going at the church in Warwick, starting in 2 weeks' time. So Betty and I went to the Alpha course and I became convinced that Christ was real and that I should join. And in November we started going to Myton. It was on Easter Sunday that the episode took place. My friend, who is a Christian, said because it was Easter Sunday, that was a sign that you were going to be okay. So I went into the operation fine, and after a week I was out of hospital and I've got better ever since. Although I couldn't go to work for 2 months, I actually started with small walk and then built up, and in the end I walked all the way along the Grand Union Canal because I wasn't allowed to drive because I'd had a seizure. I walked all along the Grand Union Canal to Lapworth and then back along the Stratford Canal, which was 26 miles, and I knew I was fit again. My name's Colin Baker.
The current work that you do, how can people join it?
Well, I'm a member of 4 walking groups, and they're run by an organisation called the U3A, which is the University of the Third Age, and it's for basically retired people. I'm a leader of 3 of the walking groups, and I'm a member of the 4th. We walk on the first Tuesday of the month, the second Friday, the third Wednesday, and the 4th Friday. So I more or less have one a week, although occasionally 2 occur in the same week. Tuesday and Wednesday we walk anything between 7 and 10 miles. On the Fridays we're a bit more adventurous and we walk between 8 and 14 miles. It's normally within Warwickshire, but Gloucestershire and Northamptonshire and Oxfordshire, we do travel a bit.
Don't mind Colin, he said it's not amazing. I think Colin is amazing. He's going to be gardening today, right?
Yeah, I'm a very keen gardener and I still work. When I was working, I was managing a garden project which worked with people with learning disabilities. When I retired in 2007, I asked if I could stay on and just work up to 2 days a week. They were quite happy for me to do that, and I've been working ever since. And my doctor says, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I've thought about retiring properly, but I can't bring myself to do it. Because I love working with plants. Myton Church is very, very vibrant, very central to my life. It's a great, busy place. And what I like about it is that there are people of all ages. All the generations are represented, right? There's people even older than me.
Meet.
I'm Corin and I'm 12 years old, and I really like church because I get to meet with all my friends. There's lots of youth clubs and hang out. We have a church lunch today and it's really fun.
My name is Jill. I've been at Myton Church since about 1980 when I came with my husband and children when we first joined the church. I've found Myton Church to be very helpful and supportive. I have my home group. It's a mixed group of ages. I help with the free lunches that we do on a Tuesday sometimes and keep up with a few folk. My main thing really is keeping in touch with people who are on their own and encourage folk. For the years, the Oasis group was originally started with the idea of providing friendship and fellowship to retired couples moving into the area, be near their families. And that proved very helpful to a good number of people who came and had an immediate friendship group to join. We were quite a big group. We're a smaller group now, but we meet occasionally for times of prayer together and to share some cake and coffee. Usually in January and the New Year we have a lunch together.
How can people join?
Oh, they can just come. We're open to anybody over 60 age who are very welcome to join us. The group meets really at Westbury Community Centre. We keep in touch, pray for one another, and Hugh Bradbury will be the one to contact if you wanted details of the Oasis group.
We have fun events for all ages.
Here's
And I'm organising a holiday club for this summer. It's going to be running from the 22nd to the 24th of July, Monday to Wednesday after the end of the school term, and it's for all children from reception to year 6. And it will be from 9 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You will be able to sign up on the church website after half term. We're going to do lots of activities, learn about Jesus, sing songs, do crafts, games, lots of activities, and have lots of fun. And it's really exciting. I've been coming to Myton Church since I was a student, so the late 90s. I've seen a lot of change over that time, but it's been really interesting.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm having a church lunch today and I'm just putting out some delicious food for later.
I'm Phoebe, I'm 23 and I've been at Myton for about a year. I really love it, feels like home. I do quite a lot with the 20 to 30s group, which is mostly students but also some older people, and we just gather for games and food, and it's just such a great fellowship.
I'm Emma. I've been going to Myton for ages with the youth group and we have a lot of fun on a Friday night. I joined the church when I was a student, which is a long time ago, and I've stayed because it's friendly and it's helped me to grow as a Christian.
And you can make lifelong friends too, like...
I'm 14.
I'm Joanna and I'm 14.
And how have you found Myton so far?
I found it a very inclusive experience and everyone's very warm and welcoming.
It's been very lovely. It feels like a family here.
I've been coming for about 11 years, so since I was about 2 or 3.
I've been coming for probably around 10 years now.
And you met in Myton, the two of you. And how's your friendship been?
I think we're very strong friends, which I really can't imagine my life without you. Yeah.
That's a lovely thing to say.
It's diverse.
I'm Irvin. I'm from Hong Kong. From Google. I run a local church around where I live. I like the worship, teaching, and people. I really enjoy worship as part of my Christian life.
My name is Coin Sola.
Places that you enjoy the most.
Learning about God and amazing things.
So when did you join Myton?
Just about last year and after summer last year.
And have you enjoyed it so far?
It's been really beautiful, lovely people. The word of God has been good and I've met family, I'll say. Yeah.
It's a diverse church and there is an expert cook right there.
Oh yes!
Her name is Gold.
That's a lovely lady.
My name is Ari Pratim and I'm from India. I study here at the University of Warwick. I've been coming to the Myton Church for like 2 months now. Well, it's amazing. It's like I've met so many friends, you know, people from different ages and stages. It's a great community feeling to be here.
I'm a camera student studying computer science. I found the church through the church search at CU and I've been really enjoying the community here and the services every Sunday.
Hi, I'm Beth Reynolds. I work a lot in youth work, so I help with Crash and then our youngest youth group 5 Live, which is really great. We have a range of ages within the church, a lot of babies and toddlers, and then a lot of wonderful old people that we can bond with and create a great community with.
Meets Chris Redstall.
I'm a missionary from Myton Church, currently working in Nepal. I joined Myton, gosh, about 20 years ago, 2005, something like that. And so I'm coming back after having lived out of the country for almost 6 years now. And what I've noticed coming back is how much it's changed. So the eldership has changed and the congregation is changing. What I find really encouraging is new people coming in. And actually, because of where the church is, it's an area where it's much more diverse. So you've got people from all over the world now coming to the church, which wasn't so much the case when I first joined 18 years ago. And in some senses, it's a reflection of where the UK is at in terms of people coming from all over the world to live here. And I think that's great. So if you're not somebody who's heard the gospel or thought much about the person of Jesus Christ, coming back into this culture from a Hindu culture, what I see is that people are searching for something and that people are open to spirituality. They're looking for truth in a culture that's basically said there's no truth. And I think people know there must be some truth. And so I would say, come and find out if Jesus is who he said he was, which is the truth.
Yeah, so I'm Hannah and I'm in year 12.
My name's Matt. I'm a GP trainee at the moment. So as a family, we went and served God in Madagascar for 8 years. I was working there as a doctor, and Hannah, you grew up there, didn't you?
I've been there 8 years and I went to the local school there.
And how have you found Myton so far?
I have to say positive things, I know, because I'm on the leadership team in Myton. It's full of life, and we're in a stage of transition at the moment as we're trying to work out what to do with the building. But the people of God is what it's all about, and that's growing. It's a real joy to see that happening week on week.
Yeah, I think it's a really welcoming place and the music is amazing. There's so much diversity now. Yeah, and I just love Myton so much.
And there are some made in Myton love affairs. Sit tight for the juicy bits.
I'm Matthew, and this is Julie. And how long have we been married now?
5.5 years.
Yeah, time flies when you're enjoying yourself, doesn't it? I met Julie, I think it was about 8 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah? Where did we meet? Coffee group?
We met at Myton Church.
We had a coffee group afterwards, didn't we? After church we used to get a coffee at Starbucks with a bunch of other folk and kind of spotted you across the way and started chatting, didn't we? It was pretty chill.
That's your take on it.
So, what's your take on it then?
Well, my take on it was that we shared a love for hospitality, particularly for hosting people and cooking. And I'd invited a group of our friends around to cook. You were away, and then you came back and you said, I'd really like to do that. I'd love to open my house up and have people here, but I don't want to cook for that many people. I can't cook. And so you invited me around to cook for you.
Well, that's what you thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, it did turn out to be a lie, didn't it? Actually, you could cook it.
Well, lie's a strong word. I think it was a guise to get you over.
But God knew that we were good for each other and that we shared a heart for serving people, particularly in terms of opening up our homes and feeding people particularly.
Absolutely. So how did you get involved in Myton Church then?
So I moved to Warwick from Oxford 9.5 years ago. I knew quite a lot of people who'd been in Leamington before, several people who'd been at uni who were now in Oxford, and I got a job in Warwick and potentially asked around as to what are the good churches in Warwick. One of my friends recommended Myton. So I had a look at the website, and I think what initially attracted me to Myton was the obvious holding of God's word, particularly in the statement of faith, and I wanted to be in a church that dealt with the word of God rightly and that taught it faithfully. The reason I stayed was different actually. What made me stay was people. I walked into a church, into an area where I knew nobody, and within 3 or 4 weeks I'd been to probably 10 different people's houses, so they showed me hospitality, they showed me friendship. And what was different to the church I came from in Oxford is that wasn't just people like me, singles or the young married couples from young families up to some older people. I quickly found a family and a social life, and that to me was what kept me at Myton alongside the really strong teaching.
Good.
How about you?
Well, I kind of knew about Myton for years, but I was at a different church at the time. I just felt that Myton suited me more really in terms of where I was going. I was looking for a church that was seeking to uphold the truth of the gospel, also where I could be effective and get involved in stuff with the church, youth ministries and that sort of thing. So that's why I made the switch.
God had other plans, didn't he? My mum actually told me when I first moved to Warwick that she thought I was coming here because God had a husband for me here, and I told her to go away and that I didn't need a husband, but God definitely had other plans.
So, she'd also been having a word with the Lord, and that was it.
We both come from slightly tricky relationship paths, like a lot of people do, and I realised I'd been looking for the wrong things in a partner, and actually to find someone who shared my love for the Lord but also a desire to serve God's people was something that was really important to me. And we're not brilliant at it, but we try and have an open house policy so that people in need can come. I think a lot of people feel at home here, which for us is really important. There's always some food. Some uncle advice. I mean, just on a slightly silly note, I've lost count of the people who know the code to get the key to our front door, because people just let themselves in here. And to us, that's a way of sharing what we believe God's given us and the good of those around us.
Absolutely.
And I've been round as well, haven't I?
You have.
Yeah.
Always welcome, you know that.
So what advice would you have to people who don't know how to approach the other sex, to ask their hand or whatever, you know?
About proposing here or just getting to know someone?
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I was devious. I asked for some help. I asked for some help, and that worked because I found someone with generous hearted who was willing to help me do some catering, and that was the way I worked in. But I don't know the answer to that. I'm definitely the worst person to ask that.
I'll answer that. I'm not sure I'm very good at it either. We actually did just kind of fall into relationship with each other in some ways, didn't we? But actually we were friends first. And we actually spent a lot of time with other good Christian friends in a group scenario, and we got to know each other that way, which I think is a safe. So if you're scared of asking, or you're not sure how someone will approach, I think that's a really good way to go. And I think approaching each other as we believe as Christians that we're brothers and sisters in Christ first, and actually approaching someone how you would want to treat someone that you have that level of respect for as well.
Yeah.
So taking the pressure off, getting to know someone.
It felt very natural.
Yeah.
It wasn't orchestrated. It wasn't arranged. It was just something that naturally came out of a group of friends.
Hanging out with like-minded people, and actually I think there's a lot of pressure on people nowadays to find relationship, and actually sometimes those relationships are best when they find you.
In fact, I remember a very interesting conversation as a coffee group one day about a few members were on Christian Connection, a dating website. They were talking about actually how difficult that was, how it felt sort of artificial really, and a lot of pressure on those first meetings and stuff like that. It wasn't working for them.
Yeah, although actually one of the couples there had also met online, and that one worked out well. That one of those coffee group coffees after the service, we were having a conversation about churches and how churches can often assume if men and women talk to each other, particularly if they're single, that they're looking for a relationship. And I quite controversially said, I just don't understand why a man and a woman cannot go for a coffee together as friends and people not read too far into that. And actually on the back of that, I went for a coffee with 2 different men in the group, one as a friend, well to me they were both as a friend at the time. One actually was Simon. Simon and I have always been very good friends, and both of us were frustrated by the idea that actually it was fine for me to go for a coffee with a girl and him to go for a coffee with a bloke.
I heard you say that. I thought, amen. And then immediately said, oh, do you fancy a coffee?
I'm really grateful for some of the friends from that group. There's still people that I would go to if I had an issue. But actually, that's a way of kind of slightly putting yourself out there as well, isn't it? It welcomes someone saying, do you fancy a drink? You know, is that something you'd be comfortable doing with me? And,
and it was just as a friend.
And we were friends for quite a long time after that. We just get each other. I've never had someone understand me like you do, and that was quite clear as friends even before we were dating. So yeah, spend time with people, get to know people. Don't make big decisions before you actually know someone.
Yeah.
You know, for some people, they walk into a room and see someone and they think I'm going to marry them, and it works for them. But for 99% of people, it's about relationship and building friendship and something starting from there.
I remember an old minister used to talk to us youngsters years ago. He used to say, "Look for your partner in the prayer meeting." You know, I remember thinking, "Oh yeah, you're right." But there's an element of truth there in the setting where you are looking for people who share the same values as you and the same passions.
I was single for quite a long time before I met Matt. I'd done some serial dating in my 20s and then decided that wasn't good for me, and that I needed to kind of learn to be happy being single. And a Christian blog and the church I went to actually did a sermon on, you know, being contentedly single, but also talking about how sometimes singleness is for a time and those kind of things, and that God has something else in store. And I wrote a blog post on it, and I found a little kind of meme on the internet that said, I want to be the kind of girl that looks to God's heart for the man that I want and actually has to be close to God to find him. And I think that was quite important to look for the right thing in a man rather than the thing that I thought I wanted.
Actually, what do you have to say to people that have these checklists? I'm not saying it's wrong to have a checklist.
Absolutely.
It's just that they have these checklists and the checklist has not materialized.
I'm going to be honest here, and do not take offence at this, darling, but you don't hit many of my checklists. I'm going to be, if I go back to the checklist point of what I was looking for 12 years ago, it probably wasn't you, but that was wrong. And I used to describe dating as a bit like shopping for a house. So quite often you have to see 4 or 5 houses. What you decide from those houses is what you definitely want in the house you want and what you definitely don't want. And I think there's some truth in that you get an idea of what it is you're looking for. But actually I learned that what I was looking for wasn't necessarily what was good for me. I tended to go for people that weren't good for me because I didn't really know what I was looking for. So I put things down on a piece of paper, what I thought I wanted in a partner, but actually the things that I needed weren't those things. So I think there's a challenge, and particularly as you get older, because I think in your early 20s you think you know what you want, and actually you change a lot in your 20s and 30s. And yeah, my challenge was to actually trust that if God knows me best, he knows what I need. I'll never forget ringing up one of my best friends from Oxford just after Matt and I had started dating, going, what am I doing? Is this crazy? You know, this is not what I had down on my checklist. And he said to me, well, you know what was on your checklist before has never worked, has it? So why don't you try something different? And here we are today. So
seems to have worked.
Seems to have worked, yeah.
Matt, to you, you know, it's quite difficult when you date in your, let's say, 30s, 40s. I found out that most churches or most places have provisions for people in their 30s and nothing for those in between, like 50s or 60s, because you can still fall in love at 64.
Yeah.
It becomes difficult. That's why most people do internet. But unfortunately, this particular group of people, not all of them are into internet. It's like there's no option to meet anyone, really.
Well, I had children from a previous relationship, and the stakes were so much higher. You know, there are often sort of kind of social groups set up or organised events for the 20s, 30s, and then I wasn't in that group really because I was a bit too old. That's why I found this coffee group, because it really was a broad spread of people from various stages in life. It was less organised, less structured, but naturally I needed to get relaxed in being single, trusting God. It's either for a season or forever, I didn't know, but I wanted to look to God and prioritise him, how he wanted me to use me in that situation. But yeah, I couldn't help noticing Julie. And
so I think probably what you're saying there, isn't it, is you use your opportunities. So it may be that there is nothing formal, but actually to invite some people who look like they don't have families to go out for a coffee after church as a group actually wasn't a bad call for people.
I mean, it wasn't just a bunch of people looking to find a partner. It was just a place where people felt safe, and from that, 1 or 2 people did meet up. Quite a lot of people didn't, but they were there for each other, and those friendships are carried on. And some were married couples that have been married for 15 years and just took the opportunity to come along.
And that's one of the joys of church, isn't it? Church brings together people from different backgrounds, different age groups that would never socialise in any other setting, and we unite under the gospel, and actually that brings amazing opportunities. To have people to walk alongside you is something that's really unique to the church. I don't see anywhere else in British culture where that happens regularly, and to me it's been a real blessing. Knowing God and following him is great, but actually it comes with a lot of benefits as well, and this is one of the blessings he gives us as Christians.
Church family.
What are you?
Me?
What do you do, Matthew?
I'm originally an engineer, but I'm sort of run my own little business, and I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I try and do a bit of this and a bit of that.
I think a bit of an entrepreneur is a bit of an understatement, isn't it? So Matt's had 3 businesses over the time I've known him.
Yeah.
2 of them are still running. You'd fix it man, aren't you? You're a man that looks at a problem and goes, how do I fix that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what he does in his business.
And that's kind of what I'm involved in being church, aren't I? I get involved in sort of building projects and stuff like that, and fixing various things around the church building.
If you want a solution that doesn't exist, Matt's your man. I'm very different. I'm a pharmacist by background, so I work for the NHS. I don't work as a pharmacist anymore. I work in a role that advanced practice. It looks at healthcare professionals and says, with the fact that the mid-grade doctors in the NHS were leaving, kind of how can we fill some of those skills gaps? So I've done extra training to do that. I run an infection service at the hospital. I mean, I find myself quite useful. My dad's a pharmacist. I remember as a child, like him getting phone calls from everyone in the church saying, I've got this problem, what medication should I take? And get a bit of that is the honest answer. But much as though there is that mix, actually what I do for a living is actually far less important at church. And I think we fall into a trap, don't people saying, well, who are you? And our response is what we do. Well, isn't it? If someone says, tell me about you, you generally tell them your marital status, if you've got any kids, and what you do as a job. And actually, to me, those things are actually less important. They are important, obviously, that's very important to me. If someone asks me, you know, who I am, he would be a massive part of my reply. I'm less likely to reply about job because I do think it matters less. And yes, there's always ways we can be useful to each other, and you know, if you've got a builder at church, you'll find out that he's constantly doing extensions for church people and things like that. That's quite normal. But actually, to me, it's more about our identity in Christ and what he brings. But I do love the fact that I can on a Sunday morning flip from having a coffee and speaking to one of the old retired people who lives in the complex opposite the church, down to the 5-year-old who wants to tell me about his week at school, and you know, through to someone who actually does want to ask me a work question. And I love the breadth of what church brings us.
In not so much of a nutshell, life has been tough, but time will not allow me to tell you about how the church has shown me the love of Christ and helped me to navigate through sickness and the consequent hardship. My own family lives far away, but my newfound family not only visited me and supported me emotionally, financially, physically, socially, and through Jesus living through his people, I can live life in full again. I even ushered in the new year at the party held at Matt and Julie's. NowGem, why not give church, love and Jesus a try? What have you got to lose? Well done for sticking with me. I know many people have had negative experiences and impressions, but do like, share and follow to get this positive news out there about how Christ and his church help our overall well-being. And before you go, what's your impression about God? I shared mine in the video in this description. Feel free to share yours in the comment below. Never underestimate the power of God through his church. I once wondered if I could ever smile again, but Simon showed me the love of God. He enjoys cooking and I enjoy eating. Check out Meals with Simon in the description. Finally, thank you to all those who supported me in my brokenness, opened your hearts and homes to me, and for those who care to share their witness in this video, and to those who chose not to, I still love and respect you. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, like and follow for more content like this. Thanks for watching.